Welcome. In today's video, I'll try to show you a very common error message that gets popped up whenever you try to use Entity Framework Core with Visual Studio Code. That's for .NET Core applications. So what I have here is already set up for how you're going to set up this type of project. I think there's a tutorial online that already shows that. So I'll probably show you I'll link you to I'll put the link in the description. This guy, Les Jackson, is very good with .NET application. So I'll give you the link to how you're going to set that up. Anyway, for this one, for this particular video, what I'm trying to do, though he didn't use MySQL, but it's the same procedure to set it up. And I'll show you what you need to download if you're going to use MySQL. I think he was using SQL, Microsoft's SQL database server. But for me, I like using MySQL for just because I've been using it all my life. I don't use any other database. Well, I've used Postgres before, but MySQL is my go-to reliable database, RDBMS. So anyway, I've already set everything up based on how he set up, how he showed the tutorial. But the problem is, if you try to, I've installed Entity Framework, by the way. Anyway, let me show you. So what you need to do if you want to install Entity Framework, usually type in, this is just a console application, .NET, .NET, I think add package, and then you type in Microsoft entity framework core. Now the naming convention in fact is just confusing, completely confusing by Microsoft. So first thing is why entity framework core. The thing is, there are actually so many different frameworks for the .NET applications. There's .NET framework, there's .NET standard, there's .NET core, which is what you'll most likely be using if you're using Visual Studio Code. Remember, Visual Studio Code. If it's Visual Studio, most likely it has options for whichever type of applications you want to create. So the Entity Framework Core is what you download when you're using when you want to integrate it with .NET Core applications. So this particular application is a .NET Core application. When I created it, as you can see, I am using Visual Studio Code at the moment. So I think basically every application you create in Visual Studio Code is likely .NET Core applications. So anyway, before I continue, also this is .NET Core version, .NET 8. By the way, Microsoft later on realized, okay, maybe they made blunders with the naming convention. Why are they calling some of their frameworks .NET Framework, some are .NET Standard, and some are .NET Framework Core? So that is why later on, in later versions from I think .NET 6 upwards, they stopped calling segregating them. They just, I think, put everything together, and they are now called .NET. I think the framework was even removed in the name. It's just .NET 6 or .NET 8. So the version for this one is .NET 8. Anyway, so this is what you type in to add the package for Entity Framework. So I type in enter, and this will download. I think it's already downloaded. So that's what you'll type in. The same thing, you'll also say .NET add package. So there are actually 3 packages you need to download. That's the first one, Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Then the other one is Microsoft dot entity. Also notice the capitalizations. First M is capital, E is capital. Entity framework core tools. Okay, so if I hit enter, I think I already have that also, so that will pull down that. And then for my MySQL server, I'll need .NET add package. This one is my SQL dot I think entity framework core. Like I told you, there are different versions. There's MySQL.EntityFramework. That one is for, I think, .NET Framework. So it's the one with that ends with core you're going to download. So I'll hit enter. I think I've already downloaded that also. So now if you look at my class, this is my AppDbContext class. And I have basically two entities, or let's say two classes I want to use as my entities in my database. So a person class and a car class, just with just simple three properties. Same with the car class, has only three properties. So this is the whole highlight of the tutorial. Notice what happens if I try to create a migration now to my database. .NET EF migrations add, and then I call it maybe initial and hit enter. Notice, okay, so the build was successful, so I don't have any errors in my code. But then notice the error message that I get. It's not a descriptive error message. It took me a very long time to even understand what was going on. So anyway, the reason for the reason for this error is because MySQL does not support the latest .NET framework, the latest entity framework, entity framework core. If you go to, so if you just come to your list of files, open the folder where your .NET application is, and you'll see your CS_proj file. So if the name of your project is the name of my own project is Entity Framework Core with MySQL, that's what I called it. So if I click on this Entity Framework Core with MySQL.csproj, it will open that file for me, and notice what is there. So these are the references, the DLLs that need to be downloaded and used by my application. The version is version 9.0.0. That's for the Entity Framework Core version. And then the Entity Framework Core tools, the same 9.0.0. And then the MySQL.Entity Framework Core is version 8.0.8. Now, the reason it downloads this is because these are the latest versions. Unfortunately, MySQL does not support the latest versions. So I had to go on their website and look it up, and this is where I found the information, and it's clearly written there. They did mention it, but I just feel it's not. I don't know, maybe they didn't really stress it. Like if you just go through the website, you'll just think that, okay, they're just mentioning you should download version 7.0.2, but it doesn't really make any stress that without this version it wouldn't work. So you actually do need to download this exact version 7.0.2. Without this version, you cannot get past that error. So everything needs to be this, and I think they also mentioned it. Yeah, they did mention for MySQL you should download MySQL.EntityFramework. This I don't know if they mentioned that for Microsoft Entity Framework. Okay, they didn't mention that for Microsoft Entity Framework. So anyway, that's the whole cause of the problem. So if we go back to our Visual Studio Code and change that to, so first of all, this is the MySQL Entity Framework, change it to 7.0.2. Then also for the Microsoft Entity Framework Core, change it to 7.0.2. If you leave it at the latest, it will not, it still will be giving you the same error message. So we go ahead and change that to 7.0.2, and then Control S to save that file. And then I come back to my PowerShell and try .NET EF migrations and add, and let's call it initial. Hit enter, and I believe this should resolve the issue. Still taking a bit of time. Let's just give it some time. I don't know why it's taking long. Okay, so there it is. You can see it's done. If you look at yeah, that's the folder. So it's created the folder of migrations, and you should have under initial your, oh, I even forgot to add, did I add the car class and the person class in my DbContext? Probably didn't. No, I did add that. So okay, probably with my possible problem with my connection string. I think I didn't set up this these connection strings. Anyway, I can guarantee you, because I've used it before, it will work as long as get past here and it's able to create the migrations folder for you and create this these files for you, the initial.cs and the designer initial.designer.cs. They're just calling that initial because I named the name of that first migration as initial. Whatever you called it is what is going to be the name of the file here. So anyway, like I said, I'm guaranteeing you it's going to work. So go ahead and try that out, and I'll see you in next tutorial.